Welcome back, YouTube. Tim Wallace, best damn shop around. Obviously got our 1972 Ford Courier in the background here. Been doing a little behind the scenes work on it. Just getting some little things knocked out. Trying to get our 30 minutes a day in when we can here and there. Let's catch you up. Stepping inside the truck here. Well, stepping through the truck. As you can see, floor, she's all gone. It was rotten, it was rusty, it was crusty. I had left the tunnel in it in hopes of reusing it. I gave up on it. I ditched the entire plan. Everything was so nasty. As you've probably seen in the other videos, the floor completely smoked. I mean, what was left of it was, I mean, literally just Bondo and fiberglass smudged through holes. It was terrible. And I think I figured out why. Here's part of the floorboard, and as you can see, on the inside there, you can probably see there's no sealer. There's no kind of rust preventative, no coating or anything. It's literally raw steel on the inside of the floor pan. Don't know why they thought that was going to work, but obviously it didn't. If you've been following the channel for any length of time, you'll know that I like the real oddball, weird cars that unfortunately they don't make a lot of stuff for, and this is no exception. Couldn't find any replacement panels. I mean, there were some that looked like they were stomped out by a 3-year-old on a gravel parking lot. It was pretty terrible. And we're going to make our own. But if we're going to make it, let's make it better. Starting from the inside here, these inner rockers, these kick panels, whatever you want to call this section, that was all rotten and rusty. Cut it out, made some new. This is the 14 gauge. Yeah, pretty sure that's 14 gauge. Bead rolled that, shaped it, everything looks good. Front, rear, obviously that's going to be rusty as well because that's my luck. And inner rockers. Now, this was just stamped sheet metal. You can kind of see up in the front, maybe. I mean, it was just sheet metal, front and rear. Actually, the piece I just showed you had no paint on it. That was part of the inner rocker. It was like 20 gauge. It's not going to cut it. This 1x3 11 gauge. Super strong. It's going to give us a little bit of impact resistance. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we never have to test it for that reason. Also, it's going to give us a little more rigidity. Easy to work with, to get it local here in town. Came up here, tied it in there like it was factory. Obviously, we capped the end of the tubes on each end and gave us this little floor kicker. Now, this part I'm recreating exactly how it was from the factory, so give us something to plug weld to when we build our floorboards. It'll be nice and strong. Went ahead and capped that as well. And as far as our mounts here, I decided not to hard mount the cab. I'm making some new rubber bushings, or actually they're like super hard poly, but new poly bushings here. New cab mounts. This is 3/16. Obviously threw down some caterpillars on that guy. Got hair looking good. And I made it a little bit bigger here, as you can see, because I'm thinking, just trying to think 2 steps ahead. This thing might get some kind of a little simple roll cage, or not even, I don't even say roll cage. It's going to get probably like a main hoop and some door bars. And this right here will give us something super solid to mount to. And yeah, that was what I came up with there. Coming to the back, obviously talked about that. We triangulated it here and here, just once again to give it more rigidity. We're going to ask way more of this cab than it was ever designed for, so a couple extra gussets isn't going to help. And also, this is once again 11 gauge. This will give us a nice sturdy point to mount a seatbelt to potentially, and I don't know, kind of looks cool. So that was that. This rear cross member here, it was a C-channel. It looked like it was designed to hold dirt and water, and it did its job very well because it was completely rotten. Cut all that mess out, 1x3 once again. Coming across, we built us a little arch here. Just took and pie cut it, bent it around, found the contour we were looking for. The drive shaft will go right here. We raised this up about 2 inches, plenty of extra room, and also the tunnel's going to be higher on the floor, so it's just going to work out better. Work our way across to the other side. Worked out pretty well. And I will note everywhere that we went through, like where all the body mounts are here, the tube we used a sleeve, so drilled the hole, dropped a sleeve down in it, welded it up, so that's super strong. You never want to have like a main, like a high tension bolt like this squishing the tube down, even though it's pretty thick metal, and you just don't chance it. Put a sleeve in there, it takes 5 extra minutes. Speaking of body mounts, you can see on this side we have this tube right there that extends from the chassis over to the cab, and that's what mounts it up. Works great on that side. On this side, it just wasn't going to cut it for us. That tube was like 3.5 inches tall, I think, and ideally I want to run our exhaust on the outside of the frame rail because it's going to come down from the turbo, run on the outside of the frame, and then dump in a really cool spot at the back. I couldn't get the exhaust under that round body mount without it hanging below the chassis, and I went through a lot of work here to make our ground clearance for our cross members and everything, just to have my exhaust hang down. Nah, wasn't going to happen. Once again, 1x3. It's the trend on this project. I'm saying that wrong. Let's see. Maybe we'll cut it up. No, I'll just redo it. I'm sorry, honey. You have to listen to me think it through. On this side, you can see right there, that's going to be our body mount. It's just a piece of 3-inch tube that comes off the side of the frame rail over to the cab. That's what holds it up. Works fine. Well, at least for that side. Driver's side, we had to get a little more creative. As we've talked about before, plan on turboing it. Turbo will live there, and I want to put the exhaust on the outside of the frame rail and run it down and back to a really cool place. I'm going to dump it. I'll show you that later on. But the problem was that tube was tall enough right here that the exhaust pipe, I want to run like a 3, and it's going to be hanging below the chassis with that stock little body mount. Wasn't going to work. I did a lot of work on this cross member and on these subframes to maintain our 3-inch ride height and have the chassis the lowest point. I'm not going through all that just to have my exhaust hang low. That's not cool. But common theme here, 1x3. That gave us just enough room. It'll give me like a 1/4 inch of clearance on the top of the pipe. It'll give me like a 1/2 inch to the bottom, I think, something like that, to run a 3-inch pipe through here. Then we'll get the flow we need for a 3-inch. We'll get the strength we need with this. It's all good. Just like the rest of it, or just like the passenger side. Yep, worked out really nice. As much fun as this thing's been to work on for the last 3 or 4 weeks, however long we've been tinkering with it, she's got to go in timeout a little while. Now, not too long, so don't worry. We had another project that I've started on and stopped, started on and stopped. I just have to get it finished. It's been lingering in the back of my mind and taking up shop space. So this one's going to take a little break while I finish this other one, which obviously I'll bring you along for that journey as well. But got to do one more thing on this just so we can keep the ball rolling and get more parts coming in that we need. Got to figure out drive shaft length and how to mount the diff. I'll show you what I came up with. I started digging around online for a little inspiration on how to mount this diff, and I ran across this company, which hopefully you can see that. It's called K-Power Industries, and they made a solution for it. Didn't even have to mess with it. Comes with a cross member, this cool billet piece with some polyurethane bushings pre-installed, and I opted to go ahead and get their poly bushing kit for the actual diff arms, or the ears on each side of the differential. Go ahead and got that. And in case you end up getting it separate, there's the part number. Little energy suspension guy. Hardware, yeah. This was like $350, which sounds like a lot until you figure the time I would have to spend figuring all this out. Making this, welding it, painting, powder coat. I don't have a CNC machine. Just click a button, have our solution, and just keep moving. So here we have the differential hanging back in the subframe. And these right here, these are the ears I'm talking about. That's where the polyurethane bushings will go, but yeah, not yet. So I got some more work I want to do in the differential. I want to reinforce these arms. I want to weld up the spider gear. Make a no-slip differential. So this will all come back apart. Once again, just mock up. Here it is. Factory as you remember, it has that big power plant frame, the big aluminum C-channel that goes from back here all the way up to the transmission. Got to do away with that because our wheelbase is now longer, and that won't work. It has this little flange right here. It goes on the bottom. One little 14 millimeter bolt that goes away. It's got another aluminum bushing thing on the top here, and that'll go away. All this to make room for our K-Power mount. Now it has this little sleeve here. You can either knock it up a little bit or you can knock it out, but it sticks down a little too far to go into our little billet mount. I think I'm just going to just bump her up a little bit. I think it'll be fine. As you can see, got everything thrown together here. A couple things to note is bolt orientation. Well, actually bolt size as well. There's a longer bolt which goes in the back and goes up through the bottom. Then there's a shorter bolt that goes in the front and it goes down through the top, and this plate itself is threaded. You reuse the little aluminum spacer here. I went ahead and stepped up. You can't see them. They came with little washers that were almost the same size as the hole in this, which is kind of weird. Luckily I had some nice grade 8 washers laying around that were bigger. Solved that problem. That's good to go. That gets our little billet piece bolted on. Now for our cross member. This is actually made to work with the factory tie brace that goes from here to here. It's like a big H. It's made to work with it. So I forgot to grab this from my buddy Chris's house when we got all these parts. So took a measurement, or he took a measurement for me, and figured out how thick it was. I left that much of a gap. That way our pinion angle was right. Not too critical for measuring a drive shaft, but just want to make sure we get everything as close as possible. Get that where that's happy, and there we go. Our differential is mounted with no power plant frame. Oh yeah, obviously bolt goes into the front. Everything now is just loose, no Loctite, no anti-seize, just to get our distance that we need for our drive shaft, which is right there. And as you can see, well, yeah, we're going to need more drive shaft. Every driveline shop is going to have probably a different way of measuring it, or at a very minimum, like different verbiage they're going to use about where to measure from. Pick your drive shaft shop and make sure you know exactly how they want you to measure it. Our local place is called Ron's Drivelines. Really great, just really great people. Can't say enough about these people. And they gave us the measurements. They want us to take the yoke and they want us to push it all the way until it stops in the transmission and back that out 3/4 of an inch. Just so happens that's exactly where I could tell the seal was riding on the factory one. So I don't know if that's just a universal measurement or they knew that. Whatever. All the way in, back out 3/4. And then I'm going to measure from the center of the U-joint to the mating flange on the differential. And I'm also going to measure from the mating flange to the differential to the drive shaft. So basically the distance I'm missing, and then also the distance it should be. Hope that makes sense. I'll kind of show you. Here we have the drive shaft. It's already set to our 3/4 of an inch, and I'll back it out a little bit here so you can kind of see where our seal used to ride, and that's what I used originally. Then double check the distance here. That should be absolutely perfect. Now we're going to go to the back. Ooh. And we're going to measure from, get out of here. We're going to square this flange up, and we're going to measure from this mating surface to this mating surface. And that'll give us the distance we need longer. And just as a reference, they wanted to also see from this mating surface to the center of this U-joint. I think it was just a way to double check to make sure that I didn't fudge it up. Another thing to note about these Miata drive shafts is these universal joints are not replaceable. If you look closely, see how it's got these little notches? Where they put it together and they press it in or broach it. I don't know what they call this. Basically, they make it where you can never take this out and you can never put another one in. It's on both sides and it kind of sucks. Luckily though, after talking to the driveline shop, gave them the year, make, model, transmission style, and they found the correct slip yoke, and it's also the same on the back where it's not reusable in the rear flange for the differential. They found that as well. It's awesome when you work with good people. Now, just take our measurements. We're gonna send it off to the drive shaft shop, and this guy, he's about to go in timeout, but I'm gonna show you what he's going in timeout for. And this is really cool. I think you'll like this.
Make sure you get a good clip of that. And you gotta put because it's going in timeout.
He's right. Courier, little guy right there going in timeout in exchange for this. Ooh. Now, for longtime viewers of the channel, you'll remember this. For everyone that's new, which is most of you, this is a 1985 K5 Blazer. It started life as a 4-wheel drive 6.2 diesel that was a pretty good truck, real solid bones, and we converted it to 2-wheel drive LS 5.3 4L60. Got a Eric Evans Queen City spec cam lifter thing package. What else? It's got so many little things that I forgot. I'll give you a quick little walk around, and then I'll tell you a little more of the story. Went ahead and painted it, obviously. Started on some custom interior. Man, it's a mess in there. Obviously, the 5.3 LS, once again, just dirty from sitting around, but has a very, very cool stance to it. One of the things we're going to do is the front end's got to come down just a touch. Putting a 3-inch spindle instead of the 2.5 that's currently on it. Just a little buttoning up. Like, I painted everything except for the hood. We got to paint the hood, windshield, side moldings and emblems, just little knick-knack stuff. Did a New Relic power window conversion, and I had a bad window switch, so I got to swap that out. Do some little stuff to it. Built an exhaust. Is actually one of my first exhausts. Pretty sweet. Yeah, 22s, new trim, slicked the top down so there's no more texture, deleted the roof rack. Pretty dirty, but pretty cool. Now there's a show coming up in Atlanta, C10s in the City, killer show. To anyone that's never been, you gotta check that one out. If you're even remotely close, even if you're not, you have to make it out. C10s in the City. We're actually gonna have a booth there, and this old girl, she's gonna be in it, hopefully. But not with all this talking, we gotta get to work. We got a new batch of hats in here. We appreciate all the orders, all the shirts, stickers, just all the love coming from you guys. I really appreciate it. It helps us make these projects possible. Yeah, thanks again. Let's get back to it. Here we are back with the Saturday edition of 30 Minutes a Day, which hopefully is going to be more like 3 or 4 or 5 hours. I don't know. Got a hockey game to go to tonight, but I'm going to get some time in on the old Blazer here before we take off for that. Worked on a little bit last night. I'll show you what that was all about. Don't know if anyone ever noticed, but after we installed the QA1 coilovers on this truck, the truck set dead level. I didn't like it. The coilovers were all the way down with 2.5-inch drop spindles, and it just wasn't low enough for me. Called QA1. They kind of said it is what it is, unless you buy like a $3,000 cross member. That wasn't going to happen. And I came up with something else. Let me fill you in. Here's the spindle that we were running, which is a 2.5-inch CPP spindle. Don't know how that got a little rusty. These things were supposed to be powder coated, but that's beside the point. Change that out for a 3-inch from Beltec. So that'll give us 1/2 inch more drop from the spindle alone. As well as, we took our old springs, which these guys were part number 10HT650, and the way these part numbers work is 10, so the 1010, that's the total height, and then 650 is the spring rate. After scouring around on their website, I found that they make a 9HT650, so that's what we put in. I called back to QA1 and asked them about this. I was like, hey, I see that you have a shorter spring. Can I run the shorter spring just a little bit lower? Because also with the 10s cranked all the way down, it was just really soft. Even with the shock turned up, it was just really soft in the front end. So in my head, I'm thinking, well, if I have a shorter spring, I can put a little more preload in it and have it just a touch slower. And they're like, no, that'll never work. That'll never work. Well, check this out. It's hard to see here on the lift, but it worked. Now I actually have preloaded front springs between the 1/2 inch we have in the spindle, and basically I turned it up a little bit, another 1/2 inch of drop from the spring height by the time I preloaded it 1/2 inch. It's hard to tell on this lift, but it has like the perfect rake. Now let's see, get around on the other side. I have the whole shop jammed up, so I can't pull it outside right now, but just, if you can't tell, you're not taking my word for it. It has the perfect rake. Now, I know you don't have a windshield in it. That's probably, I don't know, 30, 40 pounds. The hood's probably, I don't know, these hoods are pretty monstrous by the time you put an insulator in them. I don't know, maybe 80 pounds. So there's more weight to be had in the front. So it might go a little too far, but hey, I'd rather have the springs turned up to have even better ride than have the 10s where I just wasn't happy with them. There's still plenty of room on the shock travel, and we're not on the bump stops. I don't see a problem with it. We'll drive it to confirm that all this stuff is going to work, but for right now, I'm happy. One of the problems solved now, like 98 left. The next thing we need to address, the exhaust. Now, like I said, this was the first one I ever built. It was pieced together with eBay 304 stainless mandrel bent pipe kit and my first time ever TIG welding. It turned out pretty good, but lessons learned. I made the cardinal mistake. One of the main things to consider when building exhaust is suspension droop and travel. I didn't know that at the time, or I knew it, I just didn't pay enough attention to it. This particular exhaust starts with Speed Engineering shorty headers. That obviously V-bands, because I hate the Speed Engineering slip stuff. It comes down to 2.5 inch dual pipes, and that goes into a 2-in, 1-out muffler. Then a 3-inch single pipe out the back, and this particular one goes up and it goes like under the edge of the frame, over the rear end, and dumps out the back. I didn't take into account how much the rear shackle moves. Rookie mistake. Yeah, we're gonna learn from it and keep moving. We're behind the rear tire. As you can see, it comes through there, goes over the shackle, whoop, back out to the back. Well, as most of you can probably see, we're not touching here. It's close. It's close. There's probably 3/16 of a gap, maybe. Well, as you can see, the shackle is a little forward. When that thing comes up, bonk, right into it. And also, I left room at the top. What we're going to do is cut that joint loose, remake this tailpipe, get us some more clearance. Last thing you want on a nice truck like this is to roll up to a show or cruise in or whatever and have your exhaust rattling. Like, no. I wouldn't want that on any caliber truck, especially something that's, let's face it, pretty nice. Nicer than anything else I own. Everything modified, put back together. We extended it here, put a slight bend in it here, rotated the pipe up just a little bit, and now you can see plenty of clearance. Yep, that'll work. As you can see, the tailpipe comes out in the exact same spot. Peaks down there just a little bit. I like it. You know, if you come up here where the truck's going to, you know, more like where you're going to see, can't see it. But if you were to be behind it, you see it poking out just a little bit. While I was under there, I thought, let me see what's going on with these taillights. For some reason, I only had one brake light, and that was it. Well, some of the culprit, well, all the problem was right here. Wire nuts, taps, loom and tape that was barely hanging on. It was a mess. This thing had a trailer hitch sometime in its life. They did a shoddy job. We fixed it. It was too tight and cramped up in there to film it, but you get the point. Cut the mess out, put it back together. She's good to go. That's going to be it for this week. It's Sunday. It's getting a little late. Getting a little hungry. Go home and get a little bit of rest. We'll get fired up and do it all again next week. Thanks for sticking around. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.